Control structure. Three basic structures almost of all flowcharts created for purposes of solving a problem are made of three basic structures, namely linear, relational, and loop. To fully utilize flowcharts, linear, relational, and loop structures must work together, while linear structures can function independently. Relational and loop structures depend on each other. So nagdepende ra ang relational on loop structure sila sa usa. So a relational structures evaluates conditions but needs a linear path to process outcomes. Loops rely on relational structures to control flow. Without them, loops risk creating infinite loops. So kani infinite loops kana ning hantod sa hantod bitaw, so wala siya ending. Infinite loops causing programming to hang during execution. So linear structure. The linear structure is nothing more than a showing of the sequential execution of processing statements and logically described in the flowchart. Linear constructs sometimes contain processes that do not require evaluation or branching out of controls and therefore can stand independently without the others. But this type of situations is not always so. There will be times when it has to seek support from the other two structures just to give meaning to the required processing. Yun. Matoy linear structure. So, example, draw a flowchart to enter the two numbers through the keyboard and then display their sum on the screen. So, the algorithm is let us take the steps to deal with these steps. So, to deal with this, so the steps are, we have 6 steps. So, ano siyang algorithm ang 6 kaning unom ka kuan. So pamaagi. So first, define A as container or variable for the first value. Define B as container or variable for the second value. Define S as a container or variable for the sum of the first and second values. And the fourth, get the value of A and B. Compute the sum by adding the first A and the second B value. And the last, display the sum on the screen. So yun. Na siya output. So display the sum on the screen na siyang output. So explanation, what are required in the problem above is to create a flowchart which will accept two numbers through the keyboard and display the sum of the first and the second value on the screen. But just before we jump in writing our solution, we need to observe the initialization requirements. Among those is of providing an algorithm with what is must query along the way to support the processing. Truly, a computer is very willing slave ready to do what we say it to do. But for the machines to follow our instructions, we have to provide it with all that it needs. So outside of it keeps. So for instance, we can tell the computer to enter a number, but by itself, it cannot provide its own container without saying to create one. So kung ingon ta sa kuan, so makaingon ta nga pwede siya maka-enter og number. So pero siyang kagalingan dili siya makaingana. So without saying to create a one where it can store the value we would hope to enter. So we have to tell the computer to create and assign A, B, and S as containers for the first, second, and third value respectively. These containers in programming are known as variables. We shall discuss more variables as we progress. So yun, mo ni siyang start on the step, step. This step tell the computer to create containers A, B, and the sum and initialize it to 0. So yun, ang value sa A 0, ang value sa B 0, and then sum actually 0 siya. So input A, B. So with the computer to get the value of containers A and B from the keyboard. So sum, so A plus B. So we tell the machine to compute the sum of A and B and put in on S or sum. So display S. It should tell the machine to display on the screen that the sum taken from container is. So yun, display is. So na siya mag-stop. Linear recursive steps. The flowchart as shown in figure 321 is a linear construct designed to perform a single pass processing. But what if the same class of processings have to be done twice? Will the linear structures still be able to handle it? Well, it can be done still. So yun. Linear recursive steps. First, complete, process pass. So ano siya? Display is. So yun. So repeated process. Input A, B. So ang duha ka kuan niya value. So i-input ang A ug B. So ikuha na po siya i-add. So summarize or sum equals A plus B. So display is then stop. Mo na siya gitawag og recursive steps. Repeated lang siya. So linear in relations to loop structures. The previous example is illustrated in figure 3. So 3.2 shown how the recurrence of certain step help achieve the second run in input processing before it ends. But there were hundreds of similar input steps or processing to be made. It would be very impractical to keep repeating similar steps in a linear construct. Hence, the best way is to use a loop and define the spot in which the jump will kick off to the repeat previous processing construct. So mato ang linear relations to loop. So yeah, money start, so value sa B, then iyang sum. So input ang A, input na pod siya kuan. So AB, so yun, process. So display na sub. So money siya ang loop, kani pabalik-balik. So wala siya end. So number 2, relational structures. The diamond symbol in a flowcharting is used to indicate a conditional fact. A question's way is the form of logical comparison is placed inside a foresee, shape, or evolution that provides steps or placed in either fact. And any are executed depending on the outcome of the test, which could lead to either true or false answer. So yun, relational structure. So mana siya, relational no path, test expression, yes path, step to take when the answer is yes. So may statement, so close, kani close. Step to take when the answer is no. So statement 1, so statement 2. So yun. And then next, relational operators. So operators maning ang operators equal, less than, greater than. So kani then kani less than or not equal, so di siya magkapareha, or less than or equal to or greater than or equal. So yun, ano siya mga relational operators. So example, draw a flowchart into the numbers from the keyboard and then find the highest, assuming there's only one highest value and display it on the screen. So assume lang nga nay pinakataas nila value. Define. So steps, algorithm. So step, define as a container for the first value. Define B as a container for the second value. Get the value of A and B. Compare the imputed values of A and B. If A is the highest, then display it. Otherwise, display B. So nagyapon siya si tawagan na kining diamond. So yun. Muna siya ang relational structure. So yun. Input. So may input ang value sa A ug B. So for assume lang nga dako. So display ang A kung dako ang A. So display ang B kung dako ang B. So yun. Loop structure. Most programs would keep on doing service instructions over and over until a certain condition occurs. This action of performing a repetitive task is known as loop. So yun, repetitive task. Otro. So or lagi otro siya task is known as loop. So a loop structure must have control that is terminate at a certain point when a certain condition is met. Obviously, the loop and the relational structures must complement each other, as the latter will serve as determining factor whether to jump to the beginning or the end of the processing range before passing it close to the next steps, either in a linear or selections construct. So manang loop structure, no. So here, so as you can see from the image, so mano siya ang looping. So yun, statement 1, statement 2, so test. So yun, process man eh. Huwag ko na sayop. So this is a process. If true, so padayon lang siya. Loop range. So pabalik-balik lang siya sa statement 1, statement 2. So true na pod. So kung false, so ano siya sa statement 3. Then stop. So mana siya, no, ang loop structures. So infinite loop. So infinite loop means infinite, walay katapusan. So biskan og kuan ka maghihap pa kadha, ihap ka taman pila pa na ka kuan. So hantod sa hantod og pila makaya nimo. So yun, walay katapusan mo nang infinite loop. So this start the value of a, b, inya sum, input na pod. So sum display s, infinite loop. So kani mo ni siyang dito sa previous nga kuan na to slide. So kani kung lakadong pa mo ani, so nagkuan na siya, naghatag na siya value niya. So nag repetitive task na pod kani. So otro loop, infinite looping. So wala siya katapusan, no? Tuyok-tuyok lang siya. So controlled loop, to avoid the occurrence of infinite loop in the flowchart, the loop must be guarded with at least one definite exit point. So yun, so the must be guarded with at least one. So at least one lang ang giyanggi ko ano. So nag-need siya at least one. So as previously emphasized, the loop must be paired with a relational structure. So the relational construct must allow jump of control to beginning line of the previous steps only upon a condition that it will terminate. So when a flowchart is equipped with definite measures of loop stoppage, it is known as controlled loop. So yon, that's called controlled loop. So as you can see from the pictures, yon, controlled loop. So input, so process. So yon, napod siya kani ang say tawag aning square, kalimot ko, no. So basta kay kani input ug output ni siya. So mo na siya loop kani nga arrow. Yon, pabalik-balik lang na siya. So kung dili ano siya dili sa y, so nabalik siya. So kung no, so pabalik-balik lang siya, no. Kung yes, so then stop. So manan diri to avoid occurrence infinite loop in the flowchart, the loop must be guarded with at least one definite exit point. Yon, ano siya exit point. So mara to, salamat.